For 10 long years, the whole village called her a witch, mocked her, laughed at her tears, just because she couldn't have a child. Until one desperate night, she made a promise to the spirit, a promise that would change everything she had ever wanted and slowly take it all away. Mrs. Ibe had always believed in love. She felt deeply for Mr. Ibe, a kind-hearted man from her village, and they married with dreams of large, happy family. 10 years later, those dreams were still just that dream. The whisper and sidelong glances from their neighbors had grown into an outright mockery. The village, nestled deep in the heart of a countryside, was a place where children were the ultimate blessing, and a woman without them was seen as cursed. Mrs. Ibe rarely left the house because of the ridicule. One sunny afternoon, she decided to go to the market to buy food. As she walked past some group of young girls, she overheard one of them say, "My mommy says Mrs. Ibe is a witch, and that is why she doesn't have children." The other girls laughed so hard. The word cut through her like a knife. Mrs. Ibe turned and fled, tears streaming down her face. She got home and cried, just as she always does. At the village meeting, things weren't better. She got into an argument with Mrs. Okoro, who sneered, "Maybe if you had children, you'd understand the fee was too much, and also what real responsibilities are." The room felt silent, and Mrs. Ibe left in tears, her heart heavy with sorrow. Mr. Ibe was also feeling the weight of their childless marriage. His brother, Chike, had started farming on their land. When confronted, Chike replied, "All the land will be mine eventually. Don't fight over what you won't hold for long." At another village meeting, Mr. Ibe paid a levy without hesitation, prompting Mr. Obiora to jeer. "If you had mouths to feed, you'd understand how much paying levies hurts." Mr. Ibe returned home, sobbing like a child in his room. He prayed fervently to the gods of the land for a child. Desperation led Mrs. Ibe to visit the village shrine. She cried and begged the priestess, willing to do anything for a child. The priestess, after a long silence, said, "Your prayers have been heard. You will bear children, but you must bring a white goat to thank the spirits after the arrival of the child." Mrs. Ibe promised to bring the goat and left. 6 months later, Mrs. Ibe discovered that she was pregnant. Joy filled their home. Mr. Ibe was the happiest man alive. 9 months later, Mrs. Ibe gave birth to a baby girl named Adaeze. The village buzzed with the news, and for a while, the Ibes knew happiness. She had Adaeze, and she grew to be a beautiful young girl, but something was off about her behavior as she grew. She would always pick sides with strangers over her parents. To everyone else, she was beautiful, intelligent, respectful young girl, but to her parents, she was very disrespectful, both in words and actions, and she doesn't care who gets hurt. However, Adaeze grew, and as years passed, her behavior became a source of agony for Mr. and Mrs. Ibe. At 12, she was beautiful but had no respect for her parents. Adaeze favored Mrs. Ikenna, their neighbor, over her own mother. One day, Mrs. Ibe and Mrs. Ikenna returned from the market. Adaeze ran to help Mrs. Ikenna with her load, ignoring her own mother. Mrs. Ibe cried all night. Adaeze's behavior worsened. Adaeze would wash Mrs. Ikenna's dishes, sweep her compound, and even go to farm with her, leaving Mrs. Ibe to do everything alone. The village talked about the Ibes again, and this time about how her child saw her as strangers. One night, Mrs. Ibe dreamt that Adaeze was at the priestess's home, refusing to come back with her. The next day, she visited the shrine and explained all that had been happening. The priestess reminded her of her promise 12 years ago. The priestess solemnly told her, "You must fulfill your promise, or else things will get worse, and the girls will take back that which they had given." Mrs. Ibe reflected, and she recalled she had made a promise 12 years ago. She hurriedly went to the market and bought a white goat. She brought it to the shrine and offered it to the gods in thanks. The next morning, to her astonishment, Adaeze woke up, hugged her, and called her mommy. She washed the dishes, swept the compound, and helped with the cooking. Everything returned to normal. Adaeze was now respectful and kind, and the Ibes found happiness after 12 long years. Months passed, and Mrs. Ibe became pregnant again. This time, she gave birth to 2 boys. Their joy knew no bound. The village once again filled with whisper now spoke of the Ibis with respect and admiration. They had faced their trials and emerged stronger, bound by love and resilience. One evening, as the sun set over the village, painting the skies in hues of orange and pink, Mrs. Ibe stood at the edge of their farm, watching their children play. Mr. Ibe joined her, wrapping his arm round her shoulders. "We've been through so much," he said softly. Mrs. Ibe nodded. "Yes, but it's worth it. Look at them, they are our blessing." With the children in their lives and love in their hearts, the Ibes lived happily ever after. And that is the end of the story.